Hey guys. Before we get started, I just want to address something. These drink water comments have to stop. It's gone too far. Even Gordon Ramsay's joining in.
Are you okay? Get him some water. Yes? Oh, fuck me. Sorry. What a muppet.
Please, no more. It has to end. My fragile vocal cords can't take anymore. Anyway, Void 3.0 is out, and for hunters, there's some huge nerfs and some massive buffs. So let's get right into my build, and I'll explain my thought process along the way. First off, you have to know that if you played bottom tree tether in 2.0, you basically can toss your old playstyle completely out the window. Almost every change in the toolkit ruins each part of what made bottom tree great. That's not to say the changes are bad, just that you will need to adapt. For this build, I wanted to focus on ability uptime and survivability. For my exotic armor piece, I'm either using Omnioculus or Star Eater scales. I do not recommend any other exotics, and I'll quickly explain why. Graviton Forfeit is entirely unnecessary now. Since its exotic perk is now just a fragment you can put on any build. Invisibility uptime is ridiculously high without it, so it's unnecessary. 6 Coyote I never liked because it doesn't allow infinite invis, like other exotics, and also it increases your dodge cooldown by not allowing you to run kickstart mods. Lastly, Orpheus is going to take a bit to explain. Orpheus I completely understand when using Deadfall, but for Mobius, it makes no sense in my opinion. All Orpheus does for Mobius is add an extra volley to your tether. To compare, I will use damage against Kali. So Orpheus will do one volley of 3 arrows, doing 15,537 damage each, and 2 volleys doing 18,645 damage each. This takes 4.28 seconds from the start of the cast to the point where you can go back to using a weapon. The total damage is 158,481, and the DPS is 37,028. Now let's compare to Star Eater scales. First I want to compare with only collecting 3 orbs. I choose this comparison because it's practically guaranteed in a raid setting, since Well of Radiance will create 3 orbs. With this setup, the first volley of arrows will do 21,899 damage, and the second volley of arrows will do 26,279. This takes only 2.98 seconds. The total damage is 144,534, and the DPS is 48,501. So Orpheus barely wins in damage, and Star Eater barely wins in DPS. But it only gets better from there. Say you collect 1 more orb at any point in the fight. That brings your total damage to 158,947 and DPS to 53,338. Or, in the best case scenario, you collect 8 orbs, which brings total damage to 174,324 and DPS to 58,498. Star Eater scales completely outclasses Orpheus, even without considering the other half of Star Eaters, giving you faster supercharge. And yes, because I know someone will comment this, yes, I know you can delay your Orpheus shots for more tether uptime, but you can also delay your Star Eater shot, so I honestly don't see that as a value point. So now that that little discussion's out of the way, let's get into the details. I personally value Mobius much more than Deadfall currently, so I'll stick with that super. For dodge, you want to use Gamblers. Any jump is fine, but I use triple jump. For grenade, I use Vortex, but I haven't experimented all too much with the others. Maybe another is better, but for now I like Vortex. For aspects, I use Vanishing Step and Stylish Executioner. Vanishing Step is self-explanatory, dodging turns you invisible. It also adds a nice new animation and makes you dodge further. The main part of Stylish Executioner this build focuses on is that you turn invisible after defeating any void debuffed enemy. I really don't see the point in running Trapper's Ambush, as the main benefit to turning your team invis has been completely removed, and it works completely differently than before. Previously, smokes would delay the invis and allow you to do a lot of cool tricks, but that feature's gone completely. Also, with Heart of the Pack and combat provision removed, you can no longer give your ally stats or gain grenade energy. I see no point in turning your team invisible anymore, so this aspect really lost all value to me. With Vanishing Step and Stylish Executioner, we can run 4 Fragments. I wouldn't say any of these are absolutely necessary, but they all work together very nicely. I would always run Echo of Undermining for grenades weakening enemies, and Echo of Persistence for longer invisibility. The others I run currently are Echo of Exchange to get more grenade energy, and Echo of Remnants for a slightly longer vortex. After the world first completion of the raid, I will almost guaranteed swap one of these for Echo of Instability for volatile rounds, or more likely Echo of Starvation so I can run Devour. For mods, I'm going hard into spawning Elemental Wells and Grenade Uptime. I use Bountiful Wells on my arms to spawn an extra well for each mod I use, Explosive Ordnance on my chest and cloak, Explosive Well Maker on my helmet, and Well of Ordnance on my boots. This creates a minimum of 3 Void Wells and 2 Solar Wells for every grenade double kill. That provides 70% of my grenade charge instantly. To fill the rest, I have 2 options. I run an Impact Induction mod on my arms, so I can toss my smoke bomb at an enemy and it'll give the energy needed. The other option is simply get kills with the Glaive melee, which gives energy because of the Echo of Exchange fragments in our subclass. Another mod that's very nice to use is Ashes to Assets on the helmet, which gives a nice bump to super energy for every grenade kill. But I haven't even mentioned the mod that completely makes this build the most broken thing in the game. The Seasonal Artifact has a nice little mod called Suppressing Glaive, which makes every hit with your glaive suppress enemies. This, paired with Stylish Executioner, makes every kill turn you invisible. It is ridiculously strong on Hunter, and, well, to prove it, I decided to do something completely stupid. I loaded up a Master Vault of Glass, which is currently at 1590 power. I'm more than 50 levels underpowered for this, and I wanted to see if I could hold down a plate while being severely handicapped. And, well, you could see how it went. It's at this point I'd like to remind you that I am ridiculously underleveled, and this build far exceeded my expectations. For those of you who may have seen my stasis build, I tried a similar challenge and got about the same results. If you haven't seen that video, why not go and check it out? Stasis Hunter is absolutely amazing with it. The only difference between my build now and then is I swapped Protective Light for Well of Restoration and Elemental Charge for Bountiful Wells. So that's my Void build for the Day 1 raid. The loot plays exactly the same on Omnioculus and Star Eater, so I'll fluctuate between the two depending on which makes more sense. I'm thinking of running double special weapons since Glaive is so strong and can be used infinitely, but the loadout is very flexible. There's surely something I've missed, and there's a lot more experimenting left to do, but for now, thanks for watching. Oh, and Bungie, please bring back old combat provision. Thanks.